and welcome back to my channel, Lavie with Nee. I'm Nee, and if you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button for your girl and also ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And let's keep this train chugging with episodes 6 and 7 of The Later Daters. We open up episode 6 with Anise and Willie still on their date. Anise is honing in on the physical, highlighting that he's 6'3", and that's the perfect height. Anise lets him know that she is 62, and he's shocked by that. He thought she was in her 50s. He mentions that he has never dated an older woman and proceeds to continuously mess up her name. It's Patricia, Willie. Patricia. Nate is telling Jackie about his date with Michelle. He mentions their banter and how much he enjoyed the date. His energy has shifted, and even Jackie points out that the way he's talking about Michelle is different from his other dates. He goes on to mention he was unsure if they'll go out again, and Jackie is like, "Brother, what?" We confused too, Jackie. Anyways, this is the first time I can actually see their friendship and their interaction. And once again, it makes me feel a little bit bad about going so hard on them. But, you know, I'm still looking. We meet Greg, who is 61, been divorced twice, and has 2 kids. And my immediate question is, why are we meeting a new cast member on episode 6 out of 8? Makes no sense. Anyways, Greg talks about how his dating experience has been. He says it's been frustrating with all the ghosting and trying to figure out who's real. Greg is family oriented and says that looks are important to him. Willie and Anise discuss their travels, and Anise mentions that Willie was trying to read her, but I didn't see that. He was looking and smiling. I didn't see no reading, Anise. She tells him she's a doctor and says that Willie is deep. But, like, the only thing he talked about was Africa. So, once again, I don't see it, and maybe it was edited out. So, you know, we'll leave that where it's at. He mentions they need to go on another date, and while they are exchanging numbers, he messes up her name again. Anise has hard eyes for old Willie, though, so it seemingly doesn't bother her. But I mentioned this in a previous review. We make exceptions for the people we like, and it is very evident. Because had that been George messing up her name, she would have been at the house. Lori is on a date with Martin, who is 55, never married, and has 3 kids. They go candle making, and she points out that he doesn't have on a white shirt. Candle making all around just seems like a fun date, and I told my husband that we really need to look into that because that's something I think I would love to do. Anyways, Lori mentions they have never met before, but Martin points out that they go to the same church. Lori is going in on these candle scents, y'all, and Martin comments on how she is very particular. Lori asks, "Where are you in life?" And he's like, "I'm right here, girl." He also tells Lori that he just became a deacon, and she's like, "I don't know about that. I cuss too much." She then asks if he likes aggressive women, and I'm like, "Lori, are you trying to scare this man away? Because I thought we were in our feminine era." Anyways, Lori mentions that she's having a party to celebrate her birthday, and Martin invites himself. Pam is with Zoe, slumped over with her legs got wide open in a chair, y'all. Her posture sitting in this chair is a mess. Anywho, she talks about her date with Dwight, saying that she had a good time and she knows he's a good person because of his eyes. She says that she wants to reach out to him and thank him for their date, and he's a change of pace from her previous dates, and she likes how he knows Atlanta just as much as she does. And I'm kind of indifferent about this because, like, do you really like him or do you like the fact that he can give you a job? Greg meets with Logan and talks about his past marriages. He has a son with CP, and he says that him and his wife focused so much on him that they forgot about each other. He said that looking back, there wasn't anything too big they couldn't have gotten over and wish they would have worked it out. His second marriage blended 7 kids, and the stress from that ultimately led to divorce. He says that his celebrity crushes are Penelope Cruz and Jennifer Aniston, and Logan mentions that he has to be open with the packaging that his future partner may come in. And Greg is like, "Lolo, I hear all of that, but my honey can't look funny, all right? She has to look good." Lori agrees to Martin coming to her party, but you can tell that she really wasn't feeling it. Martin, is a change of pace. He seems really nice, patient, he's real calm, and I think that's what Lori needs. She calls Logan and fills her in about the date, and I agree with Logan that she doesn't need someone who's going to be at every single event with her. And I just want to refer back to what she said in the beginning. She was just like she wanted someone that she could come home to. So what she's saying that she wants and what she's saying now are kind of contradicting each other, in my opinion. Greg is on a date with Kelly, who is 59, divorced, and has 4 kids. She's a dental hygienist, and Kelly is really cute, but like she letting it all hang out too. My goodness. She mentioned she's from Sandy Springs, and they do a little small talk, and Kelly is like, we about to go skiing, baby. Kelly gets on the skis with her girls out once again, and she's doing all the tricks on the skis. She mentioned that she competed back in the day, so we're not surprised that she did a great job while skiing. Greg, not so much. We just need to call my man's wipeout because he couldn't stay out the water, child. Anise is with Dwayna, and I just want to say, every time she said shiver me timbers, I was cackling. That's just so funny to me. I don't know why. Anyway, she talks about Willie looking into her eyes and reading hers. She's telling Dwayna she asked if the people call him Big Willie, and Dwayna was like, Mama, I know you didn't. That does not mean what you think it means. And once again, I was just so tickled because Dwayna was like, Mama, you slow. Anyways, Dwayna asks if she's going to ask Willie on a second date, and Anise is like, no, I'm going to let Willie conduct this train. And it's just so interesting because now Anise and Auntie Lori have both said pretty much the same thing about letting a man be a man and leading and all that stuff. So there might be a generational thing with how they view relationships within that. Suzanne goes on a date with Jeff, who's 59. He's been divorced twice and has 3 kids. Suzanne mentions that he is a silver fox, and now I'm kind of questioning if this is like her typical type because he looks completely different from Frank and Avery. They have a bit of awkwardness and their conversation isn't flowing at all. She does bring up Matthew McConaughey's podcast, and Jeff says that he's a Georgia fan, so I feel like regardless of how still this date is, we know that Suzanne is all for it. So our girl Kelly is tired of seeing Greg in the water, so she puts him in the bumper lane. And he finally gets up, y'all, and they're just celebrating and clapping for him. I do want to mention that I did not like how the camera was all in Kelly's chest. I mean, I do understand that they have to get B-roll and like extra footage and stuff, but I felt like they were overdoing it, like constantly like paying into her girls. Anyways, they take a picture together, and she mentioned she's up for a second date, but Greg is a little hesitant, and I think it's just because it was a blow to his ego that he pretty much was in the water the entire date. Suzanne talks about how well-traveled she and Jeff both are and how they've been to the same countries. And I just want to say this date is very different from the others. It is very mellow, but maybe it was more intellectually stimulating for Suzanne. So Jeff says that Suzanne is classy and he would like to go on a second date. Her daughter shows up and we get the background on their matching tattoos, which is her late husband's fingerprint. And honestly, I thought that was so sweet. Anise is on FaceTime with Willie, and she apologizes for calling him Big Willie and admits that she is not familiar with the phrase. They're just being really cute and kitty on the phone, touching on the screen, smiling, and blowing kisses at each other before they hang up. That is where the episode ends, so take a second to hit that subscribe button if you've made it this far in my video. Also give me a big thumbs up, and let's get right into episode 7. Episode 7, we're with Suzanne, and she's telling her kids about her date, saying that Avery is more spontaneous and Jeff is calm, cool, and collected. She says that she's leaning more towards Jeff, but her daughter mentions that Avery is more her speed. Logan is with a niece and her daughter, and she is gushing all about Willie. She tells Logan they had a good conversation, and for their second date, it was going to be more physical. She gets a little emotional, y'all. She talks about how she is finally feeling complete and loving herself, and she is ready to let the softer side she normally reserves to show. We find out that Greg liked Kelly, but didn't want to deal with a commute, so he let her go and is getting ready for a second date. And I'm kind of confused because I don't remember them talking about the commute or the travel or anything. She did mention she was in Sandy Springs, and I'm not sure how far that is from him and where he lives, but that was all that I saw unless we missed something. So I was really kind of confused by that, but you know, that was pretty much it. Suzanne is being a little coy and invites someone on a boat cruise with her. We don't know who it is yet, so I'm sure we'll find out later. It's either going to be Avery or Jeff, so yeah, we'll find out exactly who. Nate is with his daughter and Jackie, and I just want to say that their daughter is Jackie's twin. I don't know if Nate helped at all because, ooh, she looks just like her mama. Anyways, they're grilling and having family time, and Nate is telling his daughter about his dates, and he can't remember anybody's name. And as somebody like Nate who's very particular, I'm very surprised at that. He does mention that his closest connections are with Lisa and Michelle. Greg goes on a date with Sherry, who is 60. She's been divorced 3 times and has 2 kids. Greg is loving what he sees because Sherry is cute. She doesn't look 60 at all. They're at a whiskey tasting, and Sherry talks about how she adopted her kids, her adventures, and how she's traveled all over the world. And Greg is like, you know what? I love Montana. They don't really vibe, and Sherry was like, this is fun, but child, this is as far as it's gonna go. Greg does like her and would like a second date, but he mentions that she may not be interested, and she's not. Moving along. I forgot to mention that Lori invited Felton to her birthday party via FaceTime, and y'all, the silence that he had when she invited him was so loud. Like, it was so loud, and I felt so bad for her because, like, in that instant, you just know. You know. And I just think she's holding out hope that he will surprise her and, like, show up at her party. She does mention that she invited Martin and he will be coming, but, like, girl, you did not invite Martin. He invited himself. Come on, let's just call a spade a spade. Let's just call it what it is. So Jeff is who Suzanne invited on the boat, and the pan from that man's feet from the rooter to the tutor caught me off guard because I was looking at his shoes like, what are those? Anyway, Suzanne mentions that she thought she wanted someone lively like Avery, but feels more attracted to Jeff because he's calm and grounded. They have a cute day out on the water. She does a cheer that her dad used to do, and they kiss. I still don't see it, but you know, it's not my date, so I'll just leave that alone and move on. Greg is talking with Logan about his date with Sherry. He says he had a good time and reached out to her, but wasn't sure if she was interested, so he's going to move on. And Greg, my brother, I 100,000% think that is for the best. He talks about how he shut Kelly out prematurely because of the distance and realized he didn't even have a conversation about it. So I feel like that was just kind of like first date jitters. You know, he was probably hyper focused on one thing and just, you know, didn't give credence to it or anything like that. So, you know, it happened. Lori is at her party and it looks like she's having a good time. Martin comes in with his chain on and he has flowers and the candles they made on her date. And I thought that was really sweet. Like, Martin was looking real, like, he was looking hip. I was like, okay, Deacon, okay, show out now, Deacon. He asked if they can have an intimate moment and she's like, boy, no. But I bet you if it were Felton, she would have skipped out. She would have ran out. She would have sprinted. She would have asked him if they could have had a private moment. But, you know, as much as I'm talking, she is the guest of honor. So I can honestly kind of see both sides of the coin. You know, this is what I envision. I wish Martin would have came in like a G, you know, like doing his little pimp walk and been like, hey, sweet thing, you looking beautiful tonight. And I just wanted to stop by and get me a little plate, get some of your chicken, and bring you your presents. And I'll call you later this weekend so I can take you out for your birthday properly. Like, I wish he would have came in like that, but I understand that's probably not his stilo. That's not what he does, but I feel like that kind of would have just knocked her off her feet. He just kind of came in too hard. He was trying to be, I feel like, this is just my opinion, he was trying to be her date, her arm candy for the night, if you will. So her kids see him and they are like, immediately, no. Oh, poor Martin. I thought he was sweet. Anyways, it ain't happening, Captain. She too stuck on Felton to see anybody else. So Greg messages Kelly and asks her for a second date. And Kelly's like, you snooze, you lose, baby. I got me a man. And he can ski. Willie and Anise are at the park for their second date, and he finally gets her name right, thank God. They are out on a picnic, and Anise is just so giddy. She's feeding him strawberries, just all cuddled up, and they're talking all close to each other, like forehead to forehead, and you know, eventually they end up kissing. The episode ends with Nate composing a text message to send to someone, but we're not really sure who it is, but we do know it's either going to be Lisa or Michelle. That is it. We have one more episode of the Later Daters left, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Drop down in the comments and tell me something good. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, y'all. Subscribe to my channel and tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else to come on over and enjoy Lavie with Nee. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Yeah.